Last-minute shake-up at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning, Ryan. Is okay with
And staying in front of the day isn't always as simple as 1, 2, 3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
What's the latest on creatine?
I'm going to get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Master Instructor Roundtable. I am Wendy Batts here with my friend and co-host, as always, Dr. Marty Miller. Marty, how's it going?
I'm good, Wendy. I know that you are excited for today because I think we all watched a pretty impressive final round of the Masters this past weekend.
Yes, it was quite a nail biter, by the way. And if Rory didn't hear, when this Masters, then we would have another year of hearing, is this the year? So I'm kind of glad that he did it. We can put it behind us. And then maybe next year we have different things to open up, talk about next year for the Masters. But it was a super, super great tournament. And that's one of the reasons I'm happy to say that this week we actually are talking about NASM's new golf fitness specialist course that they just launched. And who better to talk about it than congratulations, Brian. So Dr. Brian Sutton, he is joining us from NASM headquarters, and he is our Senior Content Development Manager, quite a mouthful. So why don't we go ahead and bring good old Brian in. Hey, B.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, Marty.
How's it going, Brian? How you doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Good.
Well, we're excellent, especially that you volunteered or we coerced you into joining us on this amazing topic. But, anytime NASM launches a new course, we always like to highlight it because anything that NASM had, obviously there was great evidence and science that brought a course into the marketplace. But what I've always loved about NASM is we're never afraid to dive back into the science and see if there's anything that we need to update. So, my background working with rotational athletes and then spending 18 years in private country clubs, golf fitness has always been a big thing. And I know the value behind it. And I loved the first time we came out with the golf fitness specialist course, but I'm excited to jump in here with you and see what's new. So if we could start the conversation with, really, why did NASM update the golf fitness specialization?
Yeah, great question. And first of all, congratulations, Rory McIlroy. I don't know about the two of you, but I was watching on the edge of my seat on that Masters. So it was pretty neat to watch. And whenever I'm watching golf, and I'm a golf fanatic, just looking at their rotational power and their balance and their coordination, it's just amazing. So to answer your question, Marty, we originally developed the golf fitness specialist around 2012. So it'd been a while. And there have been new discoveries with golf and golf conditioning. And not just that, us as a company at NASM, the product team, we have new tools, new technologies, and more things at our disposal to teach the content in a more effective manner. So it was time. It was time to update it. And this time around, I'm very proud of what we did. We gathered a really good group of experts to rewrite the content. It's a complete redo. It's not, I don't consider it a version update. I can consider it a complete redo. And I'm very happy at how it turned out.
So, Brian, when you say it's a complete redo, I know obviously we always try to get the best subject matter experts involved in the content and the creation of this course. So can you talk to us a little bit about who was involved in building this course and just a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So when I say redo, we rewrote every chapter and added additional chapters to it. So I think the original version was maybe about 150 pages worth of content. This is closer to 500 pages worth of content. So we well over doubled the amount of content. The original, it was 3 authors. This time we have 15. So we got the best of the best. We have individuals who are PhDs that their entire field of study is on the biomechanics of the golf swing. We had a sports psychologist who specifically works with PGA Tour golfers. We have athletic trainers that work directly on the PGA Tour, other individuals that run at university level running golf management programs. So we had a lot of very knowledgeable people, and we all just collaborated, combined our work, and went from a 9-chapter course to a 12-chapter course, and tons of new multimedia, tons of science. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking through, getting through it myself. So, if you can drop it in there anytime, I'll jump right into that content.
Yep.
But why don't we start with another simple type of question is who would benefit from taking this course?
Oh, sure. Well, I would say fitness professionals, number one. So if you're a personal trainer, a strength coach, maybe an athletic trainer, and you're working with golfing athletes, then for sure. I would also open it up to golf teaching professionals. So if you're a PGA instructor at a local country club and you're teaching people how to play golf, well, now this is something you can add to your repertoire of teaching them golf fitness strategies as well. Because we know if you improve your flexibility, your strength, your power, then you're going to increase club head speed. You're going to be able to hit the ball further, hopefully have better coordination, less mishits, lower your scores. So all those things come into play. So I'd say both fitness professionals and golf instructors can benefit from taking this one.
So Brian, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because when we said, or I told a few individuals that this just came out, they're like, well, I'm not a golfer. I don't understand golf. I don't know if this course is for me. However, I always inform people that you never know who's going to walk through your door next. And so the more information that you have, especially in the field of what we do with it being so broad, you really just, it's good to know all the different sports. But if somebody came to you and said, do I need to be a golfer to understand this content? Or is this something that I should take? How would you respond to that?
You don't need to be a golfer to understand the content, for sure. And I'm sure there are many strength coaches and fitness professionals that train golfers, but who aren't consider themselves a golfer. And that's okay. Any specific golf nomenclature and things of that nature, we explain what these terms mean and how it applies. So no, you don't have to worry about handicaps or the slope of the green or anything like that, golf course ratings. None of that really applies. We're talking about the biomechanics and the physiology of golf, what it takes to be, from a physical and psychological standpoint, a good golfer, and how we can then translate our training sessions to have that transfer of training effect to improve golf performance. So no, we don't go too deep into the rules of golf or anything like that. But our psychology chapter, which is, it's a really, really cool. It's all about coaching golfers. We do talk a lot about the appropriate mindset of what someone would need to do, not only in the gym, but also on the golf course, and how that can translate. So we talk a lot about that in the course, but you don't need to be an expert in golf to train golfers.
Yeah, and if that was the case, right, how would we train most of the athletic population that we work with, right? Pickleball, golf, tennis, all this. So I think you really covered that very well. So before I ask my next question, Brian, I just want everyone to know that this episode of the Master Instructor Roundtable is brought to you by NASM One. Membership for trainers and coaches. Members enjoy unlimited access to hundreds of career resources. Get the Edge app to schedule and program clients. Enjoy half off all certifications and specializations, access to free CEUs and more. All of just for $35 a month. Go to nasm.org/membership to learn more about NASM One. So, Brian, can you go through the chapter kind of layout? I've looked at it. I believe there's 12 chapters. If you can kind of just give us kind of an overview of those chapters, I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. So we start with an introduction to golf fitness. That's chapter 1, and what it means. What is golf, and what to expect from the demands on the body when playing around the golf. And obviously it'll depend. Are you riding in a golf cart? Are you carrying your bag? Do you have a caddy? The popularity of golf. So we go through some of the economics of golf, and how it's exploding, and not just on the course, but there's off the course activities. There's Top Golf, and there's driving ranges, and there's putt. There's all kinds of things, but golf as an industry is exploding again. And then we get a little bit into the technical sides of things. So we have a chapter on, we call it golf movement science, but it's really human movement science. So we talk about the biomechanics of the human body and how it moves. And we talk about planes of motion and muscle synergies and force couples and all those type of things. And then we get into, I think one of my favorite chapters is the biomechanics of the golf swing. So in the original course, we probably had a couple pages dedicated to the biomechanics of the golf swing. And now we have an entire chapter, and we go into in-depth detail on what's going on with the golf swing, from rotation to ground reaction forces, the whole nine. So really cool. I worked with a PhD who specializes in this. This whole thing. His name was Dr. Alex Ellert, and so fun to work with him. And then we go into assessments, right? How to assess golfers. And then flexibility training for golfing, core balance, plyo, SAQ work for golf, resistance and cardio training for golf, nutrition, and we had a fun little section on how to eat for 18 is what we call it, eating for 18. And then the last two were really fun. One was that coaching chapter that I mentioned. So how to get golfers' minds right before they play. And then the last one's on business development. So how can I now, as either a golf professional or a fitness professional, gain clients? How do I talk to people in the industry to gain golfers as clients? So we go in-depth chapter on business development for golf training. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you keep talking about the mindset, and I know that you did watch the entire Masters because that is your thing. And, Rory's big thing this year was one thing that kind of differentiates what he's done in the past is he spent a lot of time with his coach working on his mindset in different situations. And so I have not gone through the course yet because it was just recently launched, but I'm excited to kind of see based on what he was saying and some of the things that he was going through when things got tough for him, maybe how that correlates. But Brian, when you were going through, and I think this is just good for everyone to know, when we go through our content, we also give some examples in programming. So can you talk to a little bit, I know we broke it up in each chapter and we talk about the different portions and sections of quote the template when we're putting someone through a workout, but can you talk a little bit about the program design component and how either it correlates to stuff that they may already know if they're CPT and CES, or maybe they're completely different, like how that was built out?
Yeah, so we use the model. So we use the optimal performance training model to develop the golf fitness programs. And we have an entire programming manual. What it is, it's an addendum, basically. It's a PDF that someone can download, and it has canned workouts for golfers. So that is included in the course. Again, these are canned, so the professional may need to, tailor or edit a little bit based on the individual in front of them. But we certainly use the OPT model and and which phases are most appropriate, and how to increase flexibility, mobility, neuromuscular control, but then also strength and power. So It's the same OPT model that's taught in our PES course, meaning that we talk about the 6-phase model, not the 5-phase model. So we also talk about maximal power training because that's important for golfers. I mean, if anyone watched the Masters tournament, you saw Rory and Bryson hit the ball an absolute mile, right? They have some really cool power. I mean, I wish I could hit the ball that far. So yeah, we talk about how to develop power. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, that's great. So for all of you that are just joining us right now on the Master Instructor Roundtable, Marty Miller here with co-host Wendy Batts. We're talking the golf fitness specialist, a brand new version of the course that's been there. And Dr. Brian Sutton is going through and taking us through all of the new changes and the revamped content and really telling us how the course has really developed and expanded since the last time NASM put this type of content out. So Brian, we're excited to keep this conversation going. So if we want to go over some of the, nuts and bolts, so a lot of times we get questions when people are looking at their CEUs. Okay, well, how many CEUs is a course worth? What about exams? Can you get into some of that process? Because it sounds like this course is, a little bit lengthier than the last course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the original version, I believe, was about 1.0. Don't quote me on that because it was between 1 and 1.2. It's 1.5 now, so it's about 15 hours of coursework. So 1.5 CEUs for NASM professionals, 15 CEUs for AFA professionals. So yeah, it's definitely worth more CEUs because we added more content, more multimedia to the course. To become a golf fitness specialist, it works just like our other specializations. So someone would just have to pass the final exam. And it's 100 questions from a larger pool, at a larger item bank. So it'll randomly generate 100 questions from that larger pool. And you need a 70% or better to pass. You get 90 minutes to take the test and 3 attempts. So as long as you pass, then you consider yourself a golf fitness specialist.
So Brian, first of all, I'm sure if you are an NASM 1 member, you get a discount off of this course. So another incentive if you're not a part of NASM 1 that you should be. So that's a shameless plug for NASM, but I love it. And I love the fact that we get discounts on all of our courses. But Brian, when you're talking about, because this is quote new, I mean, we're not really changing the name of what somebody's going to be. They're going to be a golf fitness specialist, same as before, but because it is completely different, if someone's taken it in the past and they decide to redo it, they still get credit because oftentimes people are worried that, I took it in the past, so will it count again? And just want you to answer that. I know the answer, but I would like you to say it.
So yes, yes, you do get credit, and there's a discount. So if someone originally went through the original golf fitness specialist, but they want to get access to the new content, it's $200, and they can get the new course at a discounted rate. So yeah, it's pretty neat. I will also say this: the course is developed in our new. It's not overly new, but our page, we call it Pages internally. It's our new online delivery standpoint. So you'll see a drastic difference in the user interface of what this course looks like versus the older version where it was mostly PDFs that someone would read. Now it's in our new online learning management system. So it's really neat, easy to navigate. Tons of videos in this course on exercises that are specific to golf, assessments that are specific to golf. I hope I answered all your questions there. Yeah.
I'm sure you did, Brian. You always give great detail in your answers.
Yes, you do.
Which we love. That's why we have you on repeatedly. So can you go into a little more of the multimedia? I know what you mean by that, but maybe someone that is newer to NASM, that hasn't taken a course before, I know how much effort goes into making these courses, scientifically sound, but also enjoyable to go through with, and you understand how people learn. So can you walk us through a little bit about that, what you mean by the additional multimedia from the previous course?
Yeah. So The previous course had some narrated presentations, which were fine. You know, you can think of it like as a voiceover animation, and then a handful of exercise demonstration videos, whereas basically it's just somebody on screen performing an exercise for say like 5 to 10 seconds, and it's just you just see them performing the repetitions. That's fine for demonstration, but it doesn't maximize learning. So what we did is we had NASM Master Instructors with a client in a gym, and the instructor teaches the client how to perform the exercise. Very similar to the style that's in, say, our CPT program or PES program. So yes, and lots of different exercises too that's specific for golf. We have a whole series on stick mobility, which is fantastic. So someone wants to use that modality to improve their flexibility. Cool. We got lots of core and balance and plyometric and resistance training exercises that are appropriate for golfers, and they're more than just a demonstration. It's actually you actually see a coach training somebody on how to perform the exercises. So yeah, it's much improved from what it was before.
Well, Brian, I'll say, especially because Marty and I always talk about how we worked in baseball. We work a lot with rotational sports. Obviously, I play tennis. I try to play golf. I mean, I go to Top Golf. It's not pretty, but, usually it's one of those things that I want to do as I get older. So I think this course, as you have said, is going to be really beneficial. Even if you're not into golf now, it could be something that you want to do later. But I think there's going to be a lot of translation too into other sports, and there's going to be some similarities, maybe give new exercises. But before we wrap up, if you had to kind of give our audience some final words of why they should take this course, if we haven't already said why we would want them to take it, what would you want to leave behind?
Great question. Well, if you do enjoy golf or want to learn more about golf, or you just feel that there are individuals in your area that are, maybe you live in a golfing community, or you're training folks online and you notice that a lot of your clients maybe do play golf as a recreation, this is something that you could add to your repertoire to really improve the programming for your clients. This course was easy for me because I'm such a golf fanatic. I mean, I was glued to the TV all weekend watching the Masters, and immediately went into my backyard and started chipping and putting on my putting green because that's what I do. I mean, I'm just this is stuff that's fun for me. But yeah, I mean, we had the best of the best and experts that wrote this content. It was a lot of fun, and maybe hopefully next year, Wendy, you can invite me to the Masters if you get to go, and we'll go train the athletes out there for a bit. So.
Awesome. Well, Brian, we can't thank you enough. And, for me, managing fitness centers and private country clubs for 18 years, what I can tell you is if you can train a golfer, you're going to learn a lot of valuable skills, whether it's from the assessments, whether it's rotational power, ground force reaction, that's still going to carry over to other populations. And don't be surprised that once you start adding these things into people's programs, they may want to start golfing because they maybe had kind of eliminated themselves from that because previous experiences, they had something with injuries, etc. So I highly recommend this course for everybody. It's something there's going to be a ton of value for you. So Brian, we can't thank you enough for joining us today. And as always, we look forward to having you on because that means we're doing something new, generally speaking.
Yes. Thanks, Brian,
awesome.
for everything.
Oh, you're very welcome. Please have me on anytime. We got some new fun things behind the scenes at NASM that we're working on as well. So hopefully more to come this year. So if maybe golf's not your sport, but something else is, who knows? We may have something for you.
Always dropping hints, Brian, but we love it.
That's right. We never stop. So it's always busy over here.
That is true. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
As always, he's great. And, like we've been around NASM for over 20 years now, hard to say, but that's what you and I love from the very beginning is it's always, here's the best science. And now how do we keep pushing the envelope and then take that science into kind of unique avenues because there are people who do want to specialize, or there are people who do need a little modification of the basic science that we provide with the OPT model.
And Marty, I mean, this course is also now being included in the college. So at Penn West, you know, we have a golf management program, and I know that this course is actually now being put into some of the classes. And so it's very, very well done. I'm really excited to dive in. I'm sure you are too.
Can't wait. Well, for all of you that joined us this week on the Master Instructor Roundtable, we thank you for that. And as I always like to say, can't wait to see you next week on the Master Instructor Roundtable.